Now, the funniest part about this, and I'm sure this is a coincidence, is how as soon as Asia Wilson starts turning her head, the guy, the kid, starts turning his.
Check out that head turn. That's A.A. Wilson at a Miami Heat game, sitting courtside to support Bam Adebayo. 2 seats away is a kid wearing a Caitlin Clark Indiana Fever jersey, number 22. The moment Ozza glances over, the kid quickly turns his head the other way. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and it perfectly captures one of the strangest dynamics in professional basketball today.
What she did with ESPN, the WNBA has taken off the past few years, but it's weird to see it this year. It feels like a lot of black women in the league have been criticized. Has that been a downer? You know, the ESPN shills setting her up to cry about race and victim, but that's what they do at ESPN. We're not surprised. It really has, in my sense, because it feels like it's not like we're timid, but it's like you don't want us to do stuff. I threw in that because that's how you just don't want to hear the noise. It strips us from the genuine and pureness and love of the game. Just like, I don't even want to go down this road. I know it's going to be some idiotic person that's going to talk crazy, and then I have to continue to take the high road, aka be.
Thankfully, this isn't just about one fan at one game. It's about A.A. Wilson's ongoing relationship with the Caitlin Clark phenomenon, and it's been tense for months. In a September 2024 ESPN interview, A.A. admitted she dreaded being in Indiana during the WNBA season, not because of the city, but because she feared confrontations with Caitlin Clark fans. Think about that. The reigning WNBA MVP, 2-time champion, and face of the Las Vegas Aces is openly saying she feels uncomfortable visiting another team's arena because of the fan base. That's not a normal thing for a professional athlete to say publicly.
That's something that I've really seen this year that I've never seen before. It's just like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And you constantly have to live in that life for 4 months.
Then came the comment that set social media ablaze. A.A. told ESPN, "I just don't want to pop off." She was talking about Indiana, about Caitlin Clark's fans, and positioning herself as someone who needs protection, someone who has to constantly take the high road, someone exhausted by the whole situation.
It doesn't matter what we all do as black women. We're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is.
Here's what makes it complicated. A.A. Wilson isn't wrong. The WNBA's recent surge in popularity has created tension. In 2024, the league hit record ratings, with multiple games drawing over 2 million viewers for the first time ever. Caitlin Clark's rookie season boosted league-wide attendance by 48%. The Indiana Fever went from averaging 4,000 fans per game to over 17,000. Those are unprecedented numbers. What A.A. is struggling with is that this growth didn't center around her. When you've been the face of a league for years, won back-to-back championships, and earned 2 MVP awards, seeing a rookie get 10 times the media coverage you ever had naturally creates some resentment, even if you don't want to admit it.
Race, because it is. You know, in her mind, she's thinking to herself, man, you think he's why is this guy wearing a Caitlin Clark jersey and not my jersey? Why is he wearing a CeCe jersey and not an Asia Wilson jersey? I mean, of course it's about race. He's probably not even going to think it's about race, but of course it's about race. Subconsciously, he's thinking it to himself, it's about race. I only want to wear Caitlin Clark's jersey because it's about race. Asia Wilson's blood is boiling inside. In fact, if you zoom in and you look closely, you can see steam coming out of her ears.
Listen to how A.A. frames it in the ESPN interview. She says it feels like many black women in the league have been criticized and that the attention on Caitlin Clark takes away from the pure love of the game. She's framing this as a racial issue, as if she's being silenced, a victim of Clark's success. But here's the problem with that narrative. Nobody is questioning A.A. Wilson's talent or her achievements. People aren't saying she doesn't deserve recognition. What fans and observers are reacting to is this victim mentality, the idea that Caitlin Clark's popularity somehow takes away from other players. If you want, I can now combine all 13 sections you've sent into a single, polished, punchy article.
The awkward eye contact is cracking me up. I'm literally reposting every video of this I see. It warms my heart. Notice she says something down next to her. I mean, she couldn't possibly sit next to someone wearing number 22. To that gentleman, hats off to you. Yes, A'ja Wilson at the Heat game supporting Bam Adebayo.
AA says in the interview, it's just like damned if you do, damned if you don't, and you constantly have to live in that lie for 4 months. That's the WNBA season. She's saying that for the entire season, she felt like she had to walk on eggshells, forced to stay mature and take the high road, because otherwise someone online would criticize her. This is a professional athlete making over $200,000 from her WNBA salary alone, plus millions more in endorsements, complaining about social media criticism. Welcome to professional sports in 2025. With the fame, money, and platform comes public scrutiny. Yes, even mean tweets.
And I like that. I like that. We see you when you're sleeping. We know when you're awake. From anywhere, just haunting the anti Caitlin Clark guys, just haunting them.
Let's return to that Heat game moment. What's really happening is that A.A. Wilson has created a story in her head where Caitlin Clark fans are threatening. Indiana is hostile territory, and she has to be on guard constantly. Then she sits courtside, sees a kid wearing a Caitlin Clark jersey, and you can see the tension in her body. The kid isn't doing anything. He's not speaking to her. He's not even looking at her. He's just a young fan enjoying a basketball game and supporting his favorite player. But in AA's mind, it becomes a confrontation, a symbol of the persecution she's been describing.
Bam doesn't teach A'ja tricks. A'ja teaches Bam trick. Bam, you gotta hit the jab step like this. Bam, you gotta hit the step back like that. Hey, Bam, when you hook in the post, you gotta reach and hook in the post.
Social media had a field day with it. The clip of AA at the Heat game got hundreds of thousands of views, and nearly every comment was about the Caitlin Clark jersey. You can't escape CC22. Fans notice it everywhere, even where you wouldn't expect. Caitlin Clark supporters treated it like a game, like they'd photobombed AA's night out. But here's the bigger picture. A.A. Wilson is supposed to be the face of the WNBA, the established star, the champion, the player everyone looks up to. And yet, when she walks into an NBA arena, the jersey that stands out isn't hers. It's Caitlin Clark's, halfway across the country in Florida, far from Indiana.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. Imagine being the face of the WNBA. You walk into an arena. You're the face of the league. Whether it's an NBA game or a WNBA game, it's basketball.
One comment on the post summed it up perfectly. Imagine being the face of the WNBA. You walk into any arena, NBA or WNBA, and your jersey should be in the crowd somewhere. But the first jersey AA sees, right next to her, is CC22. That's the reality she's facing. She's won more than Caitlin Clark. She's accomplished more. She's been in the league longer. Yet Caitlin Clark is more popular, significantly more popular. And no amount of interviews about feeling persecuted is going to change that.
I'm going to need everybody to bow our heads, close our eyes, and say a prayer for one A'ja Wilson. She just survived an encounter, a scary encounter, a deadly encounter with a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm not sure how she escaped unscathed. I'm not sure how she managed to keep it all together, but A'ja Wilson is a survivor, folks. That's right. This weekend, she came face to face with a Caitlin Clark fan, and she got out of there
The satirical framing of this whole situation has been brutal. People are mocking the idea that A.A. Wilson needs protection from fans, portraying it as a deadly encounter with a Caitlin Clark supporter. This isn't just random trolling. There's a growing sentiment among basketball fans that A.A. and a few other WNBA players have mishandled the Caitlin Clark era. Instead of embracing the attention, the ratings, and the sold-out arenas, they've complained. They've framed it around race and acted as if Clark's success somehow takes something away from them. Here's the frustrating part. The WNBA has been fighting for mainstream attention for decades. Players have demanded higher salaries, better travel, more media coverage, and more respect. Then Caitlin Clark arrives and delivers all of it. 3 million viewers for games, sold-out arenas in cities that barely follow the league, and ESPN coverage dedicated to women's basketball. Instead of riding the wave, some players, including A.A. Wilson, complain that it's unfair, that attention should be shared differently, and that Clark's fans are somehow a problem. It's self-sabotage on a massive scale. A.A. had a chance to be gracious, to say, Caitlin Clark is incredible for the league. This is good for all of us. Instead, she said she dreads visiting Indiana and worries about confrontations with fans. A.A. Wilson has positioned herself as a victim of the league's growth. That Heat game moment is the physical manifestation of this narrative. She sees a Caitlin Clark jersey, and it bothers her, not because the fan did anything, but because it symbolizes everything she's been complaining about. That Clark is more popular, even though A.A. has more accomplishments. Think about the psychology of it. A.A. is courtside at an NBA game, there to support Bam Adebayo. She's enjoying herself, and then she sees the number 22 jersey, and her demeanor changes. That's not a healthy relationship with the sport or her own league. Her comment in the ESPN interview is telling. It doesn't matter what we all do as black women. We're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is. She sees a kid wearing Clark's jersey and interprets it as a racial issue. But that's not why fans gravitate toward Caitlin Clark. They're drawn to her because she's exciting to watch, because she shoots from 30 feet, had one of the greatest college careers in history, played with a chip on her shoulder, and led Iowa to back-to-back national championship games. Race isn't why people buy her jersey. Performance and entertainment are. Meanwhile, A. Wilson averaged 27 points per game in 2024, won her second consecutive MVP award, and led the Aces to the playoffs. She's one of the most dominant players in WNBA history. And yet, she's sitting at a basketball game feeling insecure because a fan is wearing someone else's jersey. That's not about race. It's about ego. The dreading Indiana comment is especially damaging. It reinforces negative stereotypes about WNBA players, making them seem petty, ungrateful, or unable to handle mainstream attention. It also gives ammunition to people who already don't take women's basketball seriously. When LeBron James dominated the NBA, did Kevin Durant complain about Cleveland fans? When Tom Brady was the NFL's biggest star, did Aaron Rodgers worry about New England? No, popularity isn't evenly distributed, and professional athletes know that complaining makes you look weak. The social media response to the Heat game video shows how this is playing publicly. Caitlin Clark fans aren't intimidated. They're amused. They're turning it into a joke. We see you when you're sleeping. We know when you're awake. They're treating it like a game, and AA is losing. It didn't have to be this way. AA and Caitlin Clark could have had a mutually beneficial relationship. AA could have leaned into her role as the established veteran, welcoming the rising star. They could have done joint interviews, appearances, and endorsements. Instead, AA gave quotes about dreading Indiana and worrying about fans. And now every interaction between them will be viewed through that lens. The Bam Adebayo connection makes this even more interesting. AA trains with Bam Adebayo in the off-season. She said publicly that she teaches him post moves and helps with his footwork. There's mutual respect there. Bam is one of the NBA's most popular players, loved by Heat fans and respected across the league. He doesn't complain about others being more popular. He just plays and lets his game speak for itself. That's exactly what AA should have done. She's a two-time MVP, a champion, one of the best players in the world. She doesn't need to complain about Caitlin Clark's popularity. She doesn't need to frame herself as a victim or dread visiting Indiana. Instead, a moment sitting next to a Clark fan went viral, with people analyzing her every reaction. Overnight, the narrative shifted from dominant MVP to someone who can't handle Clark's popularity. That's a massive, self-inflicted wound. Where does this go from here? The WNBA season is coming back. Caitlin Clark will still be the most popular player, and fans will keep wearing her jersey. AA will need to navigate this reality without framing herself as a victim. The smart move? Change the narrative. Do an interview acknowledging how Clark has helped the league. Compliment her game. Celebrate the sold-out arenas and record ratings. Show graciousness. Show maturity. Show that you can be the second most popular player in the league without turning it into a grievance. Based on that ESPN interview, her body language at the Heat game, and what we've seen from A.A. Wilson over the past year, this probably isn't going to change. She's dug into the victim narrative, convinced that Caitlin Clark's success is somehow unfair to her. As long as she holds that view, moments like the Heat game will keep happening. She'll keep seeing Clark jerseys everywhere, and it will keep bothering her. Here's the reality. Caitlin Clark isn't going anywhere. Her fans aren't going anywhere. Complaining in interviews won't shift the attention back to A.A. Wilson. What will change is perception. And right now, it's shifting from dominant champion to someone who can't handle someone else being more popular. That Heat game moment, the awkward head turn, the visible discomfort at a Clark jersey is now part of her story. Every time she faces Indiana or shares an arena with Clark, people will be watching for the same insecurity, the same resentment, the same inability to focus on basketball. So what do you think? Is A.A. Wilson justified in how she feels about Clark's popularity? Or is this a case of an established star struggling with not being the center of attention? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe for more WNBA analysis, because this dynamic isn't going away anytime soon, and we'll be talking about it all season.